Assalamualaikum everyone, Dr. Lihanna and Dr. Azrul. Inshallah, we will start very soon. So we just maybe wait a little bit more for more people to join us. And for your attention, information, Dr. Lihanna, we also live stream this webinar through our KLM YouTube. And I have invited other KLM members from no other AKAL member from other kuliah to join us. And yeah, I think we will start shortly, inshallah. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Dr. Lihanna, for your time.
Apa, okey je. Bukan nak boleh buat kuih kayu pun sekarang.
All right, Assalamualaikum everyone. I think we can definitely start now. First of all, let's begin our session today with Kitab Al-Fatihah. Okay, everyone. First of all, a very good morning and thank you to Dr. Lihanna for spending her time today with us today to actually to go through SAF, the Sejahtera academic framework. And I also like to welcome Dr. Azrul for today's session. And for your information, Dr. Lihanna, we have actually included this session as part of our virtual ibadah camp. So we also hope that whatever that you deliver today will benefit not just for the academic, but also for not for the academicians, but also for the supporting staff as well. Because as we know, staff is not only about teaching and learning, but it is part of the whole institution transformation, as as being promoted by our Tan Sri Rector. And And before we begin, we understand that why we have SAF. In general, we have SAF because the framework is because of the changing world today. We have a lot of things changing, and and with this current pandemic at the moment now, we are forced to change the way we deal with our teaching and learning, and how actually we do our work as well. In the university. So it is very important that we educate our student to face for the future, regardless things that come on their way in the future. And I also believe that and of course we have been talking about we as the Murabi, it is a very important point that we need to always remember that our work is not, we don't work simply for the money we get every month, but also it is part of our ibadah, and hopefully that will help us in the hereafter lah. Okay. And the other objective for today's session is as well is actually to help us to better understand in order for us to preparing for our curriculum, for our program review. Okay, and then that we are now actually working on the self-review report, and the latest one is the critical review report. So by understanding this the framework, inshallah we'll be able to incorporate self in our curriculum, so that we can actually achieve the mission and the mission of the university, um, for our student as well. Okay, without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Lihanna to deliver, the webinar on SAF, the Sejahtera Academic Framework. It's all yours, Doctor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Okay. Right. So it's good to be in Pago virtually. Tak apalah. Okay, we have to do, right? Dr. Khairi, that is rolling this time off. This one, we're even worse now here, up here. Since it's PKP, can't even rentas daerah now, much less renta negeri. Okay, now, how much time do I have?
This session, this webinar will be all the way until 1 o'clock actually, so about 2 hours.
Okay.
So, but maybe we can put a little bit time at the end for Q&A later on.
Okay, because I was thinking I would really rather than just me talking the entire 2 hours, I will just start off first, but anytime after that you just jump in. Okay, all right. But before I start, the homework. This one? Everyone have this with you? Yes? Yes, because alhamdulillah, thank you. If you don't have it, it's on our website. Okay, so at least be able to go through this so that it's easier. Okay, then we will go through the book, discuss, bring up your concerns or bring up your suggestions. I'm sure there are a lot of things. Okay, because the book is not supposed to be the end all and be all of stuff. The book is actually supposed to be the starting point of a discussion that will lead to transformation in the university in terms of how we work together, in terms of how we actually offer the programs, the programs that we offer, the intipati of the program, the ruh, the spirit of the program actually is supposed, and that the students' experience is going to be transformation. It's going to be transformative education. So that's the idea. So that's why if you want to see, how can I do this? How can you do this? And you're trying to find it in the book, there is no, this is how you do it, A, B, C, D. That would totally defeat one of the guiding principles of self, which is empowerment and flexibility. Okay, but what we do hope after this is that there would be more, okay, of the initiatives that come up because of this, because basically the book, well, SAF is supposed to allow us now, you as program owners to go in and fight for going beyond what we normally do, trying to so that, in this way to push, because the world outside is not the world that we had when we were, okay lah, sebab saya sudah, I am like 50 already. Okay, not like when I was.
Nampak 50 Dr. Lihanna.
Okay lah. When you people, most of you are young. Yeah, but not the world that I was when I was in college, in university, 30 plus years back, when I was doing my PhD, more than 20 years back, when I started teaching, more than 20 years back, the students that we had. So I can see the students that I had in my classes were different from when I first started teaching more than 20 years back to now. There are, but some of the things that we do are still the same. Okay, of course, not everything that doesn't change is bad. Okay, there are some things that have to remain unchanged, which is why we have the vision and mission unchanged. But okay, if the reason why we don't change is because we're in our comfort zone, that's where staff wants to come in. Okay, that's why you start to say that, oh, okay, I'm not doing this because this is what is the best for me and my students, for my students and I, but I'm doing this because this is what I normally do. I don't want to rock the boat. Then that's the mindset that we want changed. That we hope this book, okay, will change. It will help change. That's the idea of SAC. But over the time also, for some of you have been here, you also know that internally in the university also we've gone through a lot of changes. Okay, changes either from the top leadership or from middle management to at the kuliah level. There are all these changes, and of course, with each leaders, they have their vision. And they have their ways of doing things. So how do we, as this rakyat mahin, how do we then put this together without, in our daily life, in our amanah, as we interact with our students, how do we continue to do this while also trying to help the university go where it's supposed to be? Okay, without also losing ourselves, without also going a little bit crazy, if I want to say that, a little bit here, what's going on? Okay, so that's where the idea is to put all this major approach together so that whatever comes next, okay, we have this strong foundation. And that's the idea. Okay? The way we do things will change, and it's going to change because we need to adapt. 3 years back, a lot of us will not think that we're going to go almost 1 year without actually seeing our students in person. It's like, what university is that? We're not OUM, we're not, we're IUM. We see our students, we go to class, but it's going to be too full, one entire academic year for kuliah like yours, kuliah like mine, where we don't have our students in our classes, where we only see them here in this kind of situation. And I just had this talk with my students, in my class just now, where a lot of them are feeling very isolated. A lot of them are feeling very lonely. So if you continue to just do things without really adapting, without trying to find what is it, this is a platform here, but how do we engage our students? See, right now, this is our platform. Okay, but the engagement, the idea of engagement, the concept of engagement is something that is well rooted in education and is going to continue. So now the challenge is, how do we get our students engaged in this kind of situation, in the environment that we're facing? So that's why I say the way we do things would change. But there are some things that would remain the same. The idea that we're going to continue to have to be engaged with the students. Okay, that doesn't change. Okay, so that would be what stuff is about. I do only have just a few slides just to get things going, but really I expect that we will be doing more of talking together rather than, okay. 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 All right. Yes, so the idea that we put this together, we put the student experience at the core of our university, okay, but we put the people, not just the students, at the core of our university. That's why we say it's a coherent Jamiah Insaniya. The idea here that we do not treat students like throughputs. You know, if you look into some of the quality assurance literature, they say students are this throughput. So it's really using the factory allegory, which is really not what the university is supposed to be about. We shouldn't be producing cookie cutter. Okay, if we're talking about factory, we're talking about producing students. Okay, which is why I want us to start thinking that we're not talking about producing, we're talking about nurturing. Okay, so we cannot simply be a degree mill. Okay, having employable graduates is important, but that's not why we craft our program. Okay, we craft our programs, we do the things that we do because we are going to nurture these future major players in the community. And the skill sets that they have, be it the professional skill sets, the soft skill sets, okay, the internal skill sets, okay, all those are going to make them highly sought after graduates. So we don't have to worry about GE. So we don't do things simply to satisfy GE, but the GE is a simple byproduct of the experience that we offer our students. Because everywhere, from the moment they register, okay, if they're from CFS, from the moment they register to CFS, if they're direct intake, the moment they register the first day here on campus, okay, Pago, Kuantan, Gombak, okay, from that first moment until they graduate, okay, they're fully immersed in this environment. Okay, so take that word, fully immersed, meaning that all the time. And it's not just about academic, it's about being immersed in this environment. They think they're coming to IIUM to study. And they will study, but they will get a lot more than that. That is the idea. Okay, they're going to be these excellent students, but not just academically, but also akhlaq-wise, but also as leaders of the community. Yeah. So they are going to be these people that we are going to be very happy to see in our classrooms. And also later on when they graduate, we are going to be very happy to see them as our alumni and later on perhaps inshallah as our leaders. Okay, so that's the idea. So we have a role, and the role is not just played by academics but by everyone alike. But the idea there is we do this because we take care and we see people as people. We treat each other as human beings, regardless of the post that we hold, regardless of the job that we do. Okay, we each have an important thing to do. Truly, then, inshallah, from our perspective, work is ibadah. Okay, and from the students' perspective, what they do also, that's the jihad. So we will help them in the jihad. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay? But this is why our academic program, as academic, we have to make sure that our academic programs are strong, because when they choose where to study, they only think about the academic programs. But I also hope that with staff later on, they want to come here. Okay, I know like some students want to come here because of the term Islamic, so they want the Islamic environment. Okay, but it is fair to say some of them are disappointed with what they find in our campuses right now. Okay, we have to be frank if we want to improve. Okay, but some also don't want to come here. Okay, because of the reputations we have, whether the right thing, the right reputation or not. But we also want later on in the future that they want to come here because they know this is the best university, regardless of what the ranking says, regardless of it, this is the best that they will get, not just academically, but in terms of the entire student experience. They're going to be challenged, they're going to work hard, they're going to study hard, but it's going to be such an enjoyable and also a fulfilling experience. Okay, that's the idea. Okay? And this is also something that as academics, then when we talk about this is a challenge that I throw to all kuliah. That before our students graduate, we want to nurture students in such a way that over time, the reputation is such that before our students graduate, the companies are calling us to be allowed to interview our students as their candidates to work in the company. Okay, so it's not just about GE after graduation. They already would be securing jobs before they graduate. Okay, but that doesn't come if we are only offering mediocre and if we are only nurturing mediocre students. Okay, internship, everyone would be scrambling to get our students to be the interns. Okay, and the idea here is a way in that you get in here, like some people don't see what CGPA you get from Harvard. Oh, you graduate from Harvard. That kind of thing. Yes, that kind of thing, because it is not just about the academic and cognitive content, but it is also about the kind of person that you are. Okay, so that's the idea. And inshallah also as lecturers, this reputation also goes through this one, through for us also, as lecturers, as researchers, we're going to get all this consultation work if that's what you want, research work if that's what you want, opportunity to be engaged in community and in community to work if that's what you want, because people trust, you are from IIUM. Okay, so there's a certain aura there, inshallah. So high hopes, yes, lofty dreams, but we need to dream. If we don't dream, we don't go anywhere, right? Okay, so that's the idea. So, and all this actually, they're not lofty. If you look into this, I'm not here, I don't have it here, but you have it here. Okay, if you look into our mission and vision, it's actually all there. What I just said just now is really all there. It's there. Okay. Okay, if you look at page Roman numeral 7. Yeah, cikgu suka buka buku. Okay. Okay, you can see that it is there. Okay, and all this is really because our excellence is because it's embedded in our belief system. Okay, we are truly going to be, inshallah, these towering Muslim personalities. We as the staff, our students, we as the students. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, this is the way, inshallah, one way that we will do our da'wah in our own way. This is our da'wah. Okay, right. So regardless, again, again, regardless, even if you say, but I'm just a support staff, there is no such thing as just a staff. In our own role, we're going to play to be the best that we can. Okay, and we're going to find meaning in the way that we find. Staff actually does not require just we ourselves to find this meaning in our work. Okay, but okay, this is also a way to get the supervisors, the management to also create, to also provide a working environment that will allow us to have meanings in our day-to-day work. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's the idea. But the why is it called an academic framework? Because we're a university. Our main job, okay, is related to academic. Whatever, regardless of what you want to do. So if we take out the academic part, you know, all the central agencies that says, oh, we're not an academic entity, but all these other central agencies will have no work to do. Okay, that's why it's rooted in an academic program, but it's really looking at the entire university. Okay, it requires the management to really provide an environment where we will all work together, inshallah, to bring out the best of each other. Okay. Okay. So, yes, I do want you to read this book, and at the end, because why do I want you to read this book? Because in the end, when you see this, after you finish reading this, and then when you want to explain stuff, you only need this. Okay, you only need this, yes, but you will be able to really explain this instead of just reading them. You know, reading one is Maqasid Syariah, two is the vision, the 7 mission. You know, 3 is from the pillars of learning, things like that. But you can actually really explain what these are. Okay, and not just explain them individually, but also see how they fit together. Okay, my job today is just to get you going to see how they fit together a bit. But yeah, the expectation is this is the thing to read. Finally, when you read, then you come back here and everything is clear. Okay, and then you can even okay. So then you will be able to see why do we even worry about the social, the masjid, mahallah, and community when we are talking about the academic program. Okay, so that's the idea here. So if I sebenarnya the best person to explain, number one is your dean. Okay, so shall we get him to explain number one?
You proceed with the other things first. So let me explain after that. No problem.
Okay, we talk about the humanizing education. Okay, we have talked, that's the Jami'ah Insaniyah part. Right, that we are to treat each other as humans. Okay, the idea here is also this. What would be the implications? Some of the implication would be this. Okay, I use this actually to drive in the point that there are a lot of clerical work that can be automated. Okay, not because we want to take the human out, but so that the time and energy and the mind of our support staff will be better utilized in other things rather than actually going through each student one by one, changing one little thing in the academic system, for example. Okay, because the academic system is just at this point so unwieldy. Okay. You know, those in the academic office would understand what I'm talking about, right? Okay, you make one change, Senate made one change, and sometimes you have to just sit down and instead of clicking a few buttons in our academic system, you have to go through every student. This is especially true for co-curriculum, okay, which is ridiculous, okay, when those things can be automated, okay, so that we can use that time to do other things. Okay. So that's the idea also, the idea that we should not be treating others as if they don't have feelings, they don't have their own thoughts, you know, everything is if you're the boss, for example, but of course you have a good boss here, okay, you know, not, you know, as if whatever I say, I just don't want to listen to anyone, you know, you just do whatever I say. Yeah, of course, each leaders have their own style, but that would not probably going to be good in the long run. Okay, we have studies that show that that would not be the best way to be leaders. Okay, that would be the boss, not the leader. Okay, so the idea here that when we see our students also, we don't just see them as, okay, 40 seats in our classes, but 40 different people. Okay, this is not saying that we have to then cater to each and any individual needs, but also the idea that we ourselves then, as lecturers, would have to be able to be flexible. Okay?
Lihanna, can I ask?
Sure.
In the book, it mentions that the system should follow the initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but what is happening now, the system cannot fit the initiative. So how do we fit balance together? Yeah.
Betul. That's why sekarang ni we have the SAF IT task force. It's working very hard to actually get the system working. That we actually use this framework to get that task force so that the academic system will be changed. You know, I was with Ahmad before, right?
I'm part of the committee, Dr. Lihanna, but now they are very struggling to do those. Yeah, they are very struggling to yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because one is that it's like people thinking, why do we need to change? We have been doing, I mean, the system have been holding up for the past, 38 years. Yes, it has been holding up because we have good people who actually work to do things beyond what they're supposed to be doing to make it work. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. You know, we don't want it to be like KLA. You know, when the system falls down, only you realize, oh my God, we should have done something about this long time ago. Okay. Actually, we are verging on crashing. Okay. We are verging on crashing. Okay. But one of the things that we ask them to change, because if we want that flexibility in our academic program right now, the current system is not able to cater to that.
One more thing, to upgrade the system, we need money, but we have that kind of problem now.
Itulah, that's this one lah. Okay. It has always been them saying as a money issue, but I think we do have Tan Sri and Datuk Norbik who thinks that it could still be done within the limitations that we have. You know, he did also just manage to get 2 million for the project. So inshallah. Okay. But again, trying to understand, it's really for everybody now, for the IT team to really understand what is going on, what they need, so it's good at this point if you have suggestions to send it. You can send it to Yajin lah. Tazrul, he is in the task force.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. So the vision and mission. Okay. So we no longer want to talk about just the IICE, but we want to go back and really recall and be able to to bear in our mind the 7 mission statements, and then say, alamak, so do I need to hafal? I don't think you need to hafal. Okay, that's why we have the book. That's why we have the book. That's why we have the book. That's why the book is there available online, but you have to understand. Okay, you don't have to hafal, you don't have to, but you have to understand. Okay, so I take it as you go through your curriculum review, when you say you want to map to the mission statement, you're not just simply doing the mapping, but you are looking at each and every one and really seeing, what does this mean? What does it mean to us? Okay, to KLM, what does it mean to each of the specific programs? Okay, how would our program be able to cater to address this mission? Okay. You know, they're not going to be equally addressed by each program. Okay, so you're going to have to decide which one is the one that would be the one that is most pertinent. But you will try to address at least in some way each one. Okay, so to go through the mission statement and then to ask ourselves, are we going back? Are we addressing, are we serving our students and are we serving the universities, okay, well, with the program that we have crafted, with the curriculum that we have crafted? Okay, would it fit the mission statement? Would it fit? Would we be, okay, in other words, let me say this, how different is your program from a program that is offered in other universities that do not abide by this mission statement? Okay, what makes your program belong to IIUM? Okay, even IRK programs get us this. How is the IRK program in IRKHS different from the other Islamic studies program in other universities? What distinguishes us? Okay, so this is a question to ask, for me to ask, for you to answer. Okay, it requires a lot of reflection. Yes. Okay, but you're in a good spot because you're a young kuliah. So, you know, the reflection does not have to go back that long. Okay, right. So, the student life is rooted in the academic program, as per also all our lives, you know, is rooted in the academic program. But you can see that purposely, it doesn't just put academic program. We put the accredited academic program. So making sure that the program meets the minimum quality is necessary. Okay, so we cannot be taking in, we want to go beyond, actually, we want to go beyond, okay, the minimum standards. Okay, but as we are going to experiment, as we're going to do things that other people are not doing, we also need to make sure that we're going to not, when we say accredited academic program, it also means that we're not going to sacrifice the quality of our programs. That's the idea. And that's the idea. And that is in the formal academic structure. Okay, so when we talk about that, we also know that one of the things that is really important is what happens in the classroom. How the content is delivered, not just what the content is only, but how the content is delivered. So how the content is delivered is where we pull in the pillars of learning, the number 3. Okay. We're very good. Our programs are very good with the learning to know and learning to do. Okay, because that is part of the accreditation process. Okay, that's a minimum standard in the academic program in MQA or other professional bodies, the learning to know and learning to do. Okay, the we fit the minimum body of knowledge, and usually there is a lot of skill sets, okay? Tapi TPHM ada issue lah kan with the body of knowledge, okay? Right? But the moment we go down, learning to live together, we would probably be in trouble. This is very much also, you can see this, a lot of you actually were in Gombak before you were in Pago, where we have a big number of international students, you know, compared to what you have in Pago right now, compared to what is there in Kuantan. You know, this is where most of our international students are, in the Gombak campus. So if you want to see international students during lunch, where do you go? Right? Okay, you know, if you go to this cafe, you will see the international students. If you go to this cafe, you will see the Asian students. Okay, so in my class, for example, my classes, I fix the groups. I fix the groups because, okay, experience has shown that if I don't fix the group, what happens is the international students will go in one group and then the Malaysian students will be in another group. We're already failing at learning to live together. When I was teaching cultural psychology, I had the students, some of the reflections that come in because of the activities that requires them to actually have this cultural buddy. There were actually a few that said, this is my final year in the university. Thank you for doing this because I have never spoken to an international student before. I find that not just sad, but really very worrying. We say we go to this international Islamic university, but when you have not spoken to an international student your entire time, you know, in the university, something is wrong. It's the same way, like when, you know, if we, okay, go overseas and the entire time we stay there, we only talk to our classmates because we have to, because it's in class, but we do not talk to them at all outside of that, okay, class situation. You know, that is something not right there. Same way. Okay, so we have to, that's part of what I do, you know, in a way that I can do in my class. That's what I do. You people will have to think up and will think up of other things. Okay, but not, sometimes it's not just about international and local. Okay, the Asabiyah runs high. Yes, sometimes it's also state to state. Yeah, right. Okay, already there. Okay, so this is just a question of asking if we're lecturers here, to be aware of these things, to go on, so to be able to create situations where they will try and be able to live together. Okay, KLM have a lot of teamwork. Okay, you do a lot of team assignments. Now, does it really, now the thing is to ask yourself, is it done because it is something that is easier for you to mark, because that means less assignments coming in, right? You have 30 students and a group of 5 means they will only have 6 assignments to go through instead of individual assignments. Or is it because that assignment is something that will really allow them to negotiate ideas, you know, to work together, to see different perspectives, to learn to respect people who are different from them, you know? Would that be something that our assignments would give these students a chance to do? Okay, if you answer yes, then alhamdulillah, okay, you're there, so we can stop. Right? Okay, but if you say, I'm not sure, I think then perhaps it's time next. I mean, now with remote teaching and learning, it's a bit difficult to monitor, but once we have in person, inshallah, that is something that you can monitor in a bit more closely. Okay, one of the things that students from last year's semester to this semester is that doing team assignment in remote teaching and learning is very difficult. Okay, and we get that. Okay, we see that because it's sometimes they don't know who that the teammates are. Okay, and at least if it's in-person class, during class time, they'll be able to find those people. But during remote and teaching learning, the only thing that we have right now would be our gadgets. And if they don't respond, then you don't get to do anything much. Okay. So for RTL, the learning to live together is a big challenge. Okay. But for RTL, if you talk to some of the students, even the learning to know is a big challenge. As much as we want them and we say that these are university students, they're supposed to be independent learners, okay? But also remember that we are handling the YouTube generations, okay? Where sound bites would be the way to go. Books are not the, I mean, okay, I'm a bookworm. The books, okay, the smell of the books, just the smell of the books, make me feel happy, okay? And, you can't wait to get into the books, okay? But for some, but this is not the same. We have to understand this is not the same as a lot of our students right now. Okay? A lot of them see books as burdensome things to carry around. Okay, so we have to be able to address these issues. Okay, we like books. Our students are probably better off trying to get information from the internet, but also what kind of information? Those are the kind of things that we want them to be able to negotiate. Okay, there is a lot of information out there, but a lot of our students do not have the skill to negotiate the knowledge that is out there. Okay. They know all the viral videos. Yes. Okay. But they don't, but you ask them to look up something. Okay. I mean, sometimes they only know how to Google the term that you tell them, the term that you use, but not additional terms, not other terms, and then when, the term that you use, and then suddenly everything comes out, and then they don't know how to then handle which one, to address which one. So those are the skills that is implicit in this learning to know thing. Are we helping our students get that skill? I'm not saying that we need to hold their hands. The idea of SAF is not to hold our students' hand. Okay, the idea of SAF is to actually provide them with the opportunities for growth, not to hold our students' hand. We are not spoon feeding. They are not our clients. Okay. And then, so that in the end, they will go out and be the kind of person that the academic, from your academic program, your academic program, there's the PLO there, program learning outcome, right? They're going to be there to be those person, they're going to be that the best person that they can, but also learning to become then later to also be able to effect changes in the community. Okay, that's where the part of being this international Islamic student, okay, international Islamic university student will come in. That's why going back to our mission statement is important. That's why we cannot just rely on the PLO that we copy and paste from the program standard from MQA. Okay, we cannot simply just do that. Okay, technically you are okay if you do that, but it's not going to really push us, okay, to help us really nurture the students that we want to have in the community. Because remember, the students will then become teachers in the university, in the community. They will be perhaps be the one who are going to decide what is going to help our children later, right? Okay, I had students who then later become teachers of my children. Okay, right? So, I mean, it was a bad, but these are the kind of things. So we're like, okay, I hope that we have conveyed not just the knowledge, but also the values that would also then make them become good teachers for our own children and other children, so the tarbiyah part is going to continue, inshallah. So that's the idea. Okay, the paying forward, in a way, paying forward is always about not just about our classroom, but also about later on in the future. So that's the idea of we want to have this vision, long-term vision of SAF. Okay, that's why if you talk about SAF, it's also about future studies. Yes, okay, because it is not just about the here and now, but it is about what we want later on. Okay, but also to understand that students also are and have a life. Students have a life and they should have a life. Okay, as universities, we will create these opportunities where they have these extracurricular activities that are non-credited, through student clubs, through societies, through sports. Okay, so we want to create all these things. This is also where if you think that I'm also good at this thing, so I want to facilitate a society that way. This is also where you can. If you're academic staff, you can. If you're non-academic staff also, you can. Okay, that's the idea, that there is no limit to just that our work is only in our wall. Okay? And the life, so we can continue to interact with them. Okay, but also then what about the central agencies, the other things that are on campus? That's where the BR parts comes in. Okay, BR Solehah, the environment, the ecosystem. Part of that, of course, in the academic program, it is the pedagogical aspect. We as the instructors, we need to have the skill sets to convey the skills and the knowledge and also the attitudes. That's the moral part. We have to have the skill sets to have various forms of assessment. Okay, so that we no longer go into the, oh my God, I cannot have final exam face to face. What am I going to do? It's okay because you have a lot of other things in your repertoire of assessment. Okay, and you don't have to be from Kuliah of Education to be able to do that. Okay, so that's the idea. So we don't just repeat the assessment that we received when we were students. We don't try to just as good an experience that we had when we were students. We want to extend beyond that because you're now your own person leading your own class. Okay, so we need to be able to create the assessment that would really be constructively aligned. Okay, see, we say, how come there is no such thing as OBE here? How come there is no such thing as constructive alignment here? It's all here actually. Okay, but we're not going to get bogged down with terms that may become, it's not just about using trending terms. Okay, but it's really looking back to going back to the core of education, what it is supposed to be about. Okay, and then trying to then, of course, be innovative in our own way. Okay, that's the idea. And then when you look at this, it is not just about the teacher. I think KLM does not have teaching assistants, right? But for kuliah that have teaching assistants, that where the TA is. TA is teaching assistant, LA is lab assistants, so other kuliahs have that. So they are also they also need to be I'm just going to share this with you because any one of you can be sitting in my place. You know, the KCA office, the KCA director seat is not Dr. Lihanna's personal seat. So everyone should know this so that if you ever come in this, you will be able to also explain this thing. Okay, so we have lab assistants, engineering have demonstration assistants, people who just come into the demonstration. Okay, but because they interact with our students, we want them to also have the skill sets, not just to do the professional skills, but also in terms of how they interact with our students. Okay, because see, they're all models. We all model from each other. Okay, we see each other. We really don't know what can influence our students. Okay, so we want to at least be able to have a better chance that what influence our students are the good influencers. Okay, not simply the social influencers yang tak apa-apa sometimes too on the media, in the social media. Okay, so that's the idea. The social life. Okay, the social environment of the students would also be something important, but not just of the student, but these are not just made up of the students. This is also made up of each and every one of us. Okay. Do we go to the masjid, for example? Okay lah, sekarang ni of course lah kan. Okay, I mean, in normal times. Remember, the idea here, the staff also talks about post-pandemic. Okay, it's really post-pandemic. So when things are back to normal, that kind of normal, inshallah, you know, do we ourselves frequent the masjid? Is masjid a place that we find we sort of think as our home? You know, we think that home is where the heart is. Okay, are we comfortable when we go to the masjid? Or when we go there, do we feel like, oh, I don't belong? This one, this is not for anyone to assess. This is for us to assess ourselves. Okay, are we part of the community? The internal community, the external community. The community here can be the community of learners, community of practitioners. This is also where we, in our professional area, okay, are we also part of the larger community out there? Okay, so these are just some of the things to ask ourselves, and also, you know, when people hear, oh, you're from people, the people in the surrounding community, say in Pago there, okay, would they be happy to say rent their houses to and staff versus staff from the other universities in the hub? You know, would you be the preferred renter in a way? Because they know that you will take care of the house as if it is your house. Okay? You know, this is how we also interact with the community. That's part of what we do. So you say, this is not what I signed up for as an academic. Yes, this is not what you sign up for as an academic, but this is what I think we sign up for as a Muslim, right? To always be the best. Okay. It would, I mean, like recently, we really do not want to suddenly have our staff be brought into this controversy, like the teachers who participate, who had these bad jokes about, you know, a student's body, right? Okay, we don't want, okay, and we shouldn't have those kind of people. Okay, we shouldn't have those kind of people. We don't want to be those kind of people. We don't want our friends, I'm not going to say colleagues, because in humanizing education in this environment, by right, we're all brothers and sisters. We're not just colleagues. Okay, we don't want them to be like that. If you think that, well, we would try and help them not be like that. We don't want our students to be like that. Okay, so this would be the kind of community members that we want to be. Okay, inshallah. And then This is very safe. But if we want to do all these things, but our facilities are bad. Tapi KLM should not have that issue. KLM has this state-of-the-art facilities, yes? The problem is, are you using them as you are supposed to be using them appropriately? Are you making full use of them? Are you leveraging on them? And of course, we're not talking during this pandemic because, then you will say, oh, it's COVID-19 right now, I cannot. Okay. Before COVID-19, were you doing this? Were you utilizing your smart boards as best as it could? Even going beyond what the smart board makers themselves envision, perhaps for some of you. But are you really utilizing them? Are we? So that if we say, okay, maybe I haven't really. Okay, would you then be having plans to be able to really utilize them post-pandemic when your students are back on campus? You say, but I really don't know how to use this. Now this is the time to actually learn how to be using this. Yes? Okay, so that in a way, by right, yeah? Yeah, you need back to Tazro. By right, all the lecturers should be able to become resource persons. Right? So that when we from Kuantan, from Gombak, from go down there, from Gambang, go down there and want to learn how to have this smart classroom, at least we can experience what it's like to have, and then any one of you can be the facilitator. Okay, so but this is also what SAF also wants to push, that we actually have very good lecturers, we have very good academic programs. Okay, we can of course improve on them. Okay, but we do have poor facilities at this point. Okay, this was put up here so that also the management will know that we need the human resource, yes, but we also need to have, if we want to really be a leading the way university, we need to also have good facilities. We cannot use no money, okay, as the excuse. Once, twice maybe, but if it's all the time, then it is not acceptable. It should not be acceptable. This is also a challenge that we push to the finance division with that, then you should reconceptualize your own role, okay, in a way. Yes, so that's what. But also if you look at that, so we are trying to get people to think about maker spaces in your own, perhaps. I didn't see that when I went to KLM the other time, but whether there is public space for public performance. Okay, not just a speaker's corner, but if they want to do a little sketch, it's there, it's available, and they can just use that public space. Things like that. Okay. If in kindergarten we were going to say this role play area, but maybe something similar to that also. But in a way, a simple stage would suffice. Okay, a simple stage that would, anyone can go and do a performance. Okay, they can do their poetry slam there. They can do they want to do their sajak, they can go out and just go there. So those kind of places, so that would be the kind of places that would be more specific to KLM lah. So this is why, that's why it's not just, it doesn't end at Wi-Fi, but it's just etc. But a lot of us are just usually just hung up, oh, we don't have good Wi-Fi. Okay. But there are other ways also. The idea here is to also think about, if we are given a limited resource, okay, what can we do? Can we do magic with this limited resource? And I believe actually we can. Inshallah we can. In our own way, we can.
Okay? Lihanna, just a question. Okay, we talk about the space maker, the maker spaces and whatnot. This is actually a very interesting idea lah. how do you think we can actually incorporate it formally in our in our CO, in our curriculum, so to say lah, so that it can be reflected formally in our program?
If you go to MTA01, there's that resources part. Okay. Okay. So the program isn't just about the curriculum. Okay. That's why when you have to fill up the MTA01 and MTA02, it's a thick document in the end. Okay. But it's not just because of the course outline, but so that when you have those places, and then then you can use them in your classes. Because if you look, okay, if you read if you read Saf page, when I talk about being flexible, okay, being flexible is sometimes about just taking your students out of the classroom. Okay, boleh cari page mana? Page 106. Okay, right? But if there is no such space available, then it's very difficult for us to then, take our students out of these spaces and do those kind of things. But the idea here is to be the venue. If you look at 106 venue, okay, so face-to-face classes may not need to be held only in classroom or designated learning spaces for the entire semester. We designated those spaces so that logistically you have a place. We don't want people to say, oh, I don't know, IM is so bad, we don't have our own classroom. Every class we have to find our own class. Okay, that's not the idea. The idea here is logistically you are assigned. There is designated learning space, but the idea is also, if it's appropriate during that time, take the students out of the classroom. But this is when, if you have the learning or the maker space, or other learning spaces, then at least you have all these potential spaces to take them to. Otherwise, okay, you take them out and then what? Go out under the sun in your, your trees are still not shady enough, right? If your trees are shady enough, perhaps it's nice to have this conversation under the sun, which of course we used to do. If you go to campuses in the US, the UK during summer, you'll find this, or during spring, when it's nice and warm outside, you'll find this courses being held outside. But of course, here we go, it's so hot. Okay, yeah. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, don't do that. We don't want suddenly your students to be dehydrated lah pula. Okay, but we need to have those alternatives then. Create this. Okay, create all these different areas where they can do this. For example, in IRKHS, we have the HS square. So sometimes that's what I do with my students. Okay, we come out of the classroom. When we want to do role play, we do the role play in HS square. Okay, so those would be the, one of my friends would be when for health psychology class, actually walk around campus as part of the classroom activity. Okay, and during that time, there will be discussions done along the way. So that's the idea that we're talking about. Okay, why is it, or you say, alamak, itu pun need to be put in stuff. So the idea is this. The idea here is why I make sure that it's actually written out there, so that suddenly you don't get people saying, oh, but the auditor say, because the class venue is here, you should do it here. Okay, so no more excuse of audit, nanti kena audit nanti, susah. No, that's not the idea. Okay, so that's why it's there for us to also begin. Okay, and then if you look at, so that is something that I think you can create, and not quite sure. Sometimes Mahala also have, but I don't know whether there is that there. But field work is also part of this, being able to go out. But that's where we go to the next part, the support system. Sometimes we want to do field work, and then we say, oh, there's no transportation. Okay, the idea of putting this in under staff here very explicitly is for people in the transportation part understand that their job is not to serve student activities only, okay, but their main job is to actually to serve the academic activities. So field trips of classes should take precedence over school over other activities if we have limited resources. If we have unlimited, alhamdulillah, okay. But that is also the idea. We have in Gombak, for example, we have started talking with the transportation since once upon a time. Architecture was not able to take the students out for field work, okay, which is really bad. Okay? And then they had to rent their own buses. Okay, by right, but now with this, you know, now all is okay. Inshallah, all is okay there. Okay, so a little bit at a time. This in and of itself will not suddenly change how things work. Okay, but this is the inshallah the catalyst to get things work so that everything runs smoothly, interagency. Okay, interagency things run smoothly. That in the end, once the students come out, okay, once the students come out, they are really going to embody this balanced graduate idea, and they're going to be this Khalifa. Okay, these leaders who are professional. Okay, they will do the amanah that is given to them, who is very well versed, okay, knowledgeable, not just in the area of study, but in other areas too. And they will do good, not just for themselves, but also for everyone. That's the rahmatan lil alamin. Okay, now I have explained everything that Azrul. Back to you, the maqasid.
I'm going to have another session with them, actually, with all the petty deans.
Okay.
Now, later,
Yeah, okay. So that will be, but it will be embedded also when we make that decision. So yeah, so that will be, so you all heard your dean make sure that he explained to you. Terima kasih, Syekh Ahmad. Okay. Because that is also the part where, I mean, this is also what SAF is about. We respect other people's expertise. Okay, and this is not just a one-person show. It cannot just be a one-person show. Whatever we do, even if it is our own class, yes, we did in our own class, but if we really want to really push it further, we really need everybody's help. That's why also when we talk about this, by right, when we are implementing, okay, I envision that before the start of each semester, each department, each program will be having a strategic meeting, if you want to call it that, or a power session, if you want to call it that, so that we will coordinate, you know, the course in terms of the assignments that we give our students, so that we can also learn from each other, so that we don't duplicate the assignments. Okay, so that we also know that, oh, if I do this kind of assignments, that student will not be able to take that assignment to another class. Okay, that would be the kind of things, but the idea of that in the end is going to also help us see all the different ways we can carry out our classes. Okay, in terms of the activities that we do with the students, in terms of the assessment, in terms of the assignments that we give them. Okay, if we actually have those kind of sessions before the start of the semester, okay, rather than just submitting what we do on paper and to our HOD, and then our HOD will then give it to the Deputy Dean Academic, you know, so that it's then filed in the course. So it's not a documentation is necessary, but documentation is not the reason why we do things. Okay, any question? So that's generally what SAF is. So, you know, we have arranged it so that there are differences for CFS. The difference is really more in the academic part. Okay, but just so that you know, so you know all this, you've seen this, and then this is the part that you also want to just understand. There is empowerment, there is flexibility, there's innovation, but in the end also there is accountability. We cannot just do, so giving empowerment, giving flexibility, and encouraging new things does not mean that you can do anything you want without, without reporting to anyone. There has to be accountability, because in the end it is about our amanah. Okay, so it is not necessary for all classes, for all courses to have final exam, for example. But the reason why you don't have final exam should not be because I don't want to tandu. Okay, it's very difficult to mark final exam. Okay, so I'm just going to do, other things that is a little bit more easier for me to mark, to give grades. Okay, that would not be why you do things, but you do this. Okay, I don't want a final exam because my course, okay, is not suitable for a final exam assessment kind of situation. Okay, they would be more, because they would be more better served, they will learn more if they have a certain kind of final project, for example. Okay, I mean, that would be where you have the flexibility as in your role as an instructor to be making these decisions that is that does not go against good practices. Okay, that is there, the good governance is there. That's why the accountability has to be there. We cannot just say, okay, I'm sharing this with you because we had to send some lecturers to domestic inquiry, yeah, because of them saying, oh, I know this is an A student, so I give the student an A. Okay, this student, this is a B student, but what is the basis of giving the A and B? Oh, this is my firasat. Okay, based on what I see them in class. So that's not good enough. That's not good enough. That is not the items of assessment. Okay, so that's where the accountability have to come in. Things like having classes, that with RTL, we really do not want you to have classes, a 3-hour class, the entire 3-hour class, you do it synchronously, right? Yeah, there has to be synchronous and asynchronous. The problem is when some lecturers decide everything is asynchronous. Okay, and so that's not being accountable there. Okay, or they say, oh, it's synchronous. I because this is real life issue situation. Yeah, examples here. I give them my lecturers. I take my lecturers, and then during class time, I tell them that they have to watch this. Okay, orang take this. Okay, that is why the pedagogy aspect is core for each and every one of us who are lecturers. Okay, but this is also why, if you're a support staff, for you, if you see that these are the kind of things that are happening, you can perhaps approach a lecturer to just remind them, or if need be, if there is nothing, if there is not successful, then to approach the supervisors. We all help each other. Okay, but we don't go there to say, oh, I want to make trouble for this particular person, so I'm just going to make a report. Okay, but that would not be the spirit, because the spirit here is sejahtera, yeah? Sejahtera, yeah? Sejahtera doesn't mean that we close our eyes to wrongdoings. Okay, sejahtera meaning that if there are wrongdoing, we will try and approach this to minimize. So this is where the risk management comes in. Okay, this is where identifying risk and the risk management, actually all this comes in. Okay, so that's pretty much what I have for now. Okay, the idea here, when we make decisions on the curriculum, it is not based on what is easy, expediency, but it is based on what is the most appropriate practice to make the learning experience a most impactful one for those involved. Okay, inshallah, I think, you know, as teachers, we see that if our students do well, it makes us feel happy. There's fulfillment and actually seeing our students doing well in our class and also later when they go out and face the world, right? Okay, so, and if you're a support staff, I think there is also, inshallah, that you can take pride that you also participate, you also contribute to make that person who that person is, even if you're doing this behind, even if the students don't see you, right? But because you make things go smoothly, you actually create this environment that will be very nurturing for them. Okay, we don't need to have all the things that we do be announced to the world. Okay, as much as we have the social media right now, the world of social media, but we don't have to have everything we do announced, so we don't have to have everything we do be acknowledged by others. Okay, but inshallah, because it is a humanizing environment, that in the end, people will appreciate, will understand that each of what we do. We may not be getting the award in during takrim lah, tetapi we show support and we are grateful to each other. Okay. So have you said thank you to the person who helped you today? Those kind of things. Simple act, simple act, like that our students in the end, inshallah, we don't need to even remind them to give salam. I was actually very concerned a few years back. If you recall, IRKHS had to have a campaign on giving salam. Where did we go wrong there? Okay, those are the kinds of things. So it's the values, okay, that is inherent in our mission that we need to then be able to really connect with our academic programs and also in our professional work. Okay, those are the kind of things that SAF would like to start us moving towards. Okay, really connecting those things. Okay, that is inshallah what we can in our own way contribute to SAF and make really more than just a book, but really what we experience day to day in our life. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so I know this is a problem, right? I'm supposed to just talk for a little and then wait for you to come and jump in. But so sneaky lah kan.
Lihanna, referring to your statement just now about the involvement of all staff, so how admin staff can actively take part in the staff? Can you give an example for that?
All right. Okay. How can they actively take part in the stuff? One, of course, just the courteousness that we, when we talk to our students. I know some of our students are rude. Okay, let's just put it this way. Some of our students are rude, but that is not the excuse for us to be rude back to them. Okay, that's one. But it doesn't mean that pandering to their everything, but it's also like we learn that we also show how we can handle crisis situation in a way that is calming. Okay, and in a way, Palpo is really also a small, it's a campus, but it's still a small community. Okay, that the students can feel that everyone there is also helping them out. You know, they know that if they see that, you know, when they go to the offices, they don't feel like they're not welcome. That's one. Okay, right? And knowing that, you know, you also know that, you know, when we know that person a bit better, it's easier to also go, right? Okay, so when the students are doing what they're not supposed to be doing, but you know, you already have a good relationship with them, even if you are as a support staff, you already have some relationship with them, it's easier to actually tell them, you know, what you're doing, sister, brother, uh, this is not how you're supposed to be doing things, or even simple things like that. We see that, sister, brother, there should be a Sharia gap in between you, for example. Yeah, but you know, if we are invisible to them, or we think that they are invisible to us, we see that kind of undesirable behaviors, but it would be very difficult for us to go and approach. Okay, and sometimes when you go and approach, they may also take that as can, you know, so it's a different, because so that would be one of the things, but also doing the work that we're supposed to be doing, okay, to the best that we can, you know, is the application. If the student application for study leave comes in today and you have nothing else to do, there is nothing else urgent to do, you should process it there and then, rather than wait, oh, I'll wait later, and then suddenly it's the end of the semester and still not processed. Okay. Anyone else?
Dr. Lihanna, I have a question. Okay, so when we talk about incorporating all the elements of the components of SAF into our program, and then of course we part of the things we also look into the non-formal student life as well. So how is the best way that we can do this actually? Will it be through the society ke ataupun the program ke? How do you think the best way?
That could be one of the best way, but you also did talk about projects. I mean, the projects would be actually a good way, you know, to get. I am a big proponent of projects, because I can see that projects can really push a lot of people, and you don't have, so it can be top down, it can be bottom up. So that would be one way. My worry with sometimes student club and society, well, I have seen it also here, is that sometimes it's the same students, you know, and then which is good for the students, for the students, but how do we reach out to other students? Okay, and then sometimes the worry is also that year in year out is going to be the same thing and the same activities. Okay, so if you become the advisor to the society, it doesn't engage you anymore. That's why having projects would be good, because projects would be something, one, should be meaningful, but also something that is here and now, right? And then it will change over time. It's not going to be the same project over and over again. But this is where I say, you know, you can actually have one big project, okay, that is applicable to different courses. You know, you can actually do it that way also. And then you will, you know, each of you will arrange which part of that project is pertinent to your class, right? Okay, and then you will give the assessment for the class based on that part of the project, and then the other part, you know, so it's seamless that way. That could be, if you can do that, that would be definitely an innovation. Okay. IRKHS have started talking about this. The dean have started talking about this, but I have yet to see any program picking up that challenge. Okay.
Lihanna, within 5 years, what is the expectation of university on staff?
Within 5 years, I expect that each and every one of us will be able to speak on staff, not just will be able to speak on staff, but will be invited by others to be speaking on staff, because staff is now a reality. You know, the things that we do on the ground, okay, the things that we do on the ground, the classes, and then it will be reflected in the students that come out from our programs. So that is my expectation. Yes. Okay. That there will be more books coming out, you know, more books coming out that will document staff in action. You know, that will then provide the catalyst for others to also improve so that higher education is not simply about coming, going to class, going, you know, digging through the existing body of knowledge, getting the quote unquote required professional skills, and then get your degree and then move out.
All right, thank you very much, Dr.
Until when you
Lihanna.
become the Minister of Education as Azrul.
Kena macam politik dulu, tak boleh.
Yeah, Dr. Salwa, you have any question, Dr. Salwa?
Okay, I have a few questions. Okay, for the first question, just to highlight, talking about, okay, you are in now presenting a lot of, we have staff, and then we are focusing on SDG. The same time, despite of it put together, and talking about the first stage staff now is giving awareness for all of us to understand. And I can see that in order for all of us to understand is we need to read the book. There is any platform whereby maybe a short course that actually clarify the detail? Because talking about reading the book, I don't think so. To be real, all people will buy the book and really read from page to page. And if we didn't do that, and then we couldn't understand because it's too long. Rather than in the past, Islamization is clear in one page, whereby people have get clear in one page. This is the idea. But now in a book. And then what actually matters actually is to assist all of actually to understand that concept.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay, let me ask you this. You assign textbook to your students? You assign readings to your student?
Yeah.
Yes, you assign textbook. Yes?
Not by article.
Yeah, but you sign and you expect them to read. Yes?
Yes.
They go in, they tell you, Madam, Doctor, can you just give me a summary? What do you feel?
But somehow I did give them at the end after asking them, and then in order for me to make sure before I give a summary, I give a few questions, I give activity as a follow up. Because talking about stuff now, I'm not sure there is any follow up after this. After 3 months, maybe all of us need to fill in a simple question to follow up whether we are reading it or not.
We're always happy to go in and engage with kuliah time over time. This does not have to be a one-time thing, you know. And there are always. It doesn't have to be just me. Actually, if you look, there are a lot. Actually, because you will be going in there's the Murabi task force going in and really also helping, inshallah, as getting the stuff going. But I would suggest at this point, at first, just read through. Just read through. It's not about reading for exam, you know, just to read through to get a better idea of this one. And yes, there will be actually, there will be videos coming out to help and things like that. But we don't want it to go to the idea of triple ICE. Okay? What I mean is this. This is coming from Prof. Kamal himself, yeah? Said he created the short form triple ICE to make people be able to understand the 7 missions. Okay? That was his short form to help people understand the 7 missions. Unfortunately, what happened was people only think that the missions is triple ICE. they forgot that there are 7 mission statements and what these 7 mission statements actually say. Okay, so that is the danger of giving out short forms upfront.
But Dr. Lihanna, I do see this is a blast whereby when you put in the short form, people have a similar understanding. Oh, triple IC.
No,
So
that's the problem. That's the problem, Salwa. The problem was when you talk to people, the people understanding about what internationalization is different from another person because there is no clear exposition.
but the thing is, in triple IC, despite of we may have a little bit different, but the foundation is similar rather than in a book of SAF, that can create then rather bigger misunderstanding. That from my perspective.
The point of book is to actually help clarify some of the misunderstanding, but the book is also to make us start thinking and have more questions. Yes, okay, because that's the point of it. The point of the book is to help to get you thinking. What are the other possible things that we can now do? Okay, that's why I say in the end, well, if you want the short form is that graphic that I gave you. Okay, once you read the book, you go back to that short form, you will understand that short form. And you will be able to explain that diagram, that SAF diagram just now. That's a short form.
Okay, the nothing that I will repeat a bit again, Dr. Azrul question related to how admin can contribute. The thing is, because here from some of the conversation among some people said that how that relevant to me, what I can do, then people say that read the book, you will need to do.
So, no. We are going down. We are going to be talking to the different groups of people. Okay? We are going to be talking to the different groups of people. We're going to be talking to the support staff. We're going through Kesatu. We're going through, through the association to be talking to this. Okay? But while we get to that, okay, if you want to know what it is about, then yes, the book is there. Okay, because remember, because we can't be doing this all at the same time too. Okay, so yes, the plan is there. The plan is there to go down and to be talking. But if you also know, with the support staff, with the admin staff, there was actually a seminar done by them. Di mana saya? Okay, staff di mana saya? And each of the agencies involved actually talk about how they could contribute to SAF. Okay, so there are already also all these webinars are also there on their web, but we have talked with OCAP. OCAP is also coming out with the sound bites. Okay, but let's hope also as academics we go beyond sound bites lah. And
So at the Kuliah level also, we are planning to have a series of webinar to explain our initiatives.
Yeah.
For SAF. Yeah. Inshallah very soon. Inshallah, within 2 months before July, inshallah we are going to have this to promote the SAF to all staff. Inshallah.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay.
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Lihanna. I have a question. Well, not like a question, more like a concern. Okay. If I may?
Sure.
Okay. Just now you mentioned something about the synchronous and asynchronous class can. So it's just to highlight this concern of mine, because I think my students are very much into synchronous classes. Lepas tu, they are not really happy with asynchronous classes because they feel like they don't have the kind of a connection with, probably the details or the explanation was not really clear, and then they couldn't actually gauge towards what was the lesson about. So in that particular case, it's like an expectation of the students to have a synchronized sessions during lectures. So bila you cakap tadi like 2 hours that is like not justified or whatnot, so I feel as if like, what if my students have that kind of an expectation? So do I comply or I just like refuse and kata, oh tak boleh sebab university dah cakap kalau synchronous all the time, it will be like it's not justified in certain senses that is understood by the university. So what do you think?
Okay, my thinking is this. The rule is this: if it's something, if during that 2 hours synchronous you are actively engaged with the students, then that is not an issue. But if during that 2 hours it's really just you talking, that's an issue.
Or maybe like it has to be interactive lah.
Yes. So if something, then the easy way to think about this is this: if it's something that you can explain while taping yourself, you know, just then you tape yourself and you get the students to watch before. Okay, to watch before, and then you come into class and you discuss. There is nothing wrong with having a 3-hour class also if the 3-hour class is a fully engaged class. What are the differences?
It's like if it's interactive and the students responded and then you've got like a clear communication with the students, shouldn't be a problem, right?
It should not be a problem. Okay.
Okay.
But then you have to understand that the reason why also we do not really encourage fully synchronous is there are students who have problems.
Yes, that one I understand. Yes. So let's say pertaining to that one, then let's say for example we have students who have like problems with synchronous classes. What I would do is just give them recordings, tapi according to the what do you call we have that warning and barring kind of a thing, kan? So do we actually have to do the barring and warning? Because kita tahu macam student tu dah memang ada problem with connection.
You have the discretion during RTL.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. But the reason also why we have to at the university level upfront say you don't do fully synchronous is that we also have learned that some lecturers basically just transfer doing lectures in person to lectures in this kind of situation where they just talk to the screen for the entire class without getting feedback from students. Okay. So that is the thing that we say.
Okay, insyaAllah that one is not a problem with me because my students memang interact lah dalam kelas. Cumanya when you said that something about you cannot do like 3 hours straight tu macam, but the student expected that of me. So macam mana? So I'm like, okay, now torn between whether I should do it or not. And kan kalau student complain, they will definitely complain if we don't actually abide to what they wanted, correct? So that's the thing. So that's the dilemma lah in that sense. So most of the time I would do synchronous, and kadang-kadang kalau I share recordings from the different section to the same course but different section, they will complain kata macam, madam, we want to have a lecture juga macam the other one. So
but
tak nak I have to comply.
If it's a lecture that you can share with others, you don't need synchronous.
Yeah, definitely. But then again, the student will question macam the students will like
you assign them to watch that.
Yes.
During that time.
Yeah,
and
I did.
Then you go in and talk to them, engage with them.
Yes. That's what I did pun.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Dr. Lihanna.
No problem.
It's more on flip learning, Dr. Lihanna.
Flip learning, by right. Yeah, sebenarnya, the thing that the challenge that I do want to pose to you right now is once we are back to normal, are we going back to the way we were doing? Is that what you want it to be? Or have we not learned? What have we learned? What we can get out of this 1 year plus now in this pandemic that will spur us forward, you know? But that would be for kuliah lah to decide whether you want to go back to status quo or you want to use to come out to actually have lessons learned from the pandemic and push this forward.
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Lihanna. I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Sharing. Okay. I like. Okay. When there's the thought of moving towards SAF and thinking about integrating projects in our courses. Okay. My question would be. Okay. I could see that. Okay. It is like mirroring something similar to service learning. Okay. Where now I think we talk about learning by doing. Okay, my question is, okay, when we Okay, like now we are doing our curriculum review and thinking of how do we want to implement such project, okay, similar like SAF or SDG or service learning in our courses. My question would be, how can we build, okay, such like service learning SAF or SDG in our syllabus, okay, in our course outline, considering, okay, when we look into service learning, like 10 hours of, conducting such projects. So how are we going to implement that in our syllabus or course outline for certain courses?
Okay, you can do
Any
that.
advice? Yeah.
Okay, you can do that. One of your assignments would be that.
So thinking about flexibility, and then I'm not so sure. Like when we want to build our course outline, there is certain things that we need to consider, like topics, weekly topics.
Okay, in your course online, what you need to put in your assessment is just you put community engagement project, or if you want to use a term service learning project, but okay. My thing is your course outline, don't be too detailed. Okay, but the idea here is we're going, because of course the course outline right now, the template is pre-SAF. Okay, so yes, we are moving into coming up with a course outline that's going to be to give more flexibility. Okay, so that the main thing would be in the course plan in terms of the actual implementation.
So can the topics, the weekly topics, be integrated for the 10 weeks of the service learning?
Yeah, boleh. I've done that in my classes. Not an issue.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. You get, I mean, sometimes you didn't design your course outline. Sometimes you inherit, right? Okay, you inherit the course outline. You take it, you get it, and it's like, okay, but you get lemons, you make lemonades. Okay, that is the flexibility and the empowerment that we want to have the lecturers to so the topics just say what you can do. That's why also from KCA's perspective, if you change whether it's topic 1 to be done topic A in week 1, and then you want to change topic A to week 10, it is not considered a change. Okay, that's not considered a change. You don't it's really in terms of your discretion as a lecturer, how you would grade, as long as the course learning outcome is fulfilled.
Okay. Thank you for giving the thoughts of having this flexibility on creating our course outline.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, you're welcome.
I think Dr. Lana, we should have more engagement like this so we can discuss. Kalau you tak jadi orang besar nanti lah.
Kalau saya tak jadi orang besar, awak dah tak nak dengar dah saya cakap. I mean, I am happy. InsyaAllah sebenarnya. Okay je.
Okay.
All right. Is there any more
also
question?
from admin staff, if we have their views or their if we can, ada tak admin staff? Yeah, dia sambil nak watak lah.
Ya, sambil nak watak.
All right. I think if there's no more question, I think this session has been very useful for all of us and to understand better about SAF and to say that it is totally a different thing. I think one way or the other, we still talk about the same, the triple ICE and whatnot that we have had before. It's just that this is like sort of an extended version of what we have had before, which I believe that, in order for us to cater for a better, as a provider for the future generation, we are actually catering better now with our program. All right. So before again, I would say thank you to Dr. Lihanna for her time today, her valuable time to be with us today to share about what is SAF all about. And I believe that this session has been very much beneficial. And me myself as Akal for KLM, I believe that it helps me, this program, this session helped me to understand better about the framework, and I hope that it will help the rest of the KLM members to actually, because we are now doing our program review as well, so it will better help us to understand what is actually required and needed when we do our program, and inshallah it will be it will help us to make our program better for our student in the future. All right, I think that's the end of it. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time and for your, lending the ears for for this program. And thank you again, Dr. Lihanna. All right, so with that, we end our session today with Tasbih Kifara and Surah Al-As. All right, thank you, Dr. Lihanna, and everyone. Thank you, Dr. Azrul.
Okay, thank you everybody. Okay. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Dr. Lihanna.
No problem.
You.
Okay, selamat raya.
Selamat Raya.
Selamat Hari Raya.
Macam lah boleh peraya sangat tapi selamat raya.
Salam PKP.
Okey lagi kat sini, you gombak lah sekarang dah.
Itulah, nombak lah. Itulah. And we do what we have to do. Alright then.